whole situation. All right, we're recording. Okay, Ryan Boyd, you have to hop up at 6:15. Okay, ma'am, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Senior Night Part 2. This is the second senior night we've had this semester in this Buck Wild year. Thank you all for joining us. I know I have a couple parents on. You're standing in attendance for your youngsters, so thank you for being here. We do appreciate it. Tonight we won't be before you long. We're gonna get in here, give y'all some information, and then we'll get y'all on out of here so y'all can enjoy this chilly Thursday night. First, I'm going to ask all the staff to introduce themselves, just because I know we have some students who may have gotten on a call for the first time tonight, and then I will hand it off. So I am Alexandria, camp name Edges, and I'm the post-secondary access manager here at Wyman.
Hi everybody, I'm Tiara. Camp name is Coach Royal, and I am one of the high school coaches. Hey babies, how y'all doing tonight?
Hi, I'm Alexis, camp name Snaps, and I am a high school coach.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan, or camp name Tootsie, and I'm the persistence manager. So you all will see me after high school.
I'm Brian, aka Tiny Toons, director of the program.
It's hard to tell who's going next, but I'm Danielle, or Cricket. I'm the senior director.
Okay, wonderful. Thank y'all for introducing yourselves. Next, I'm going to hand it off to one of our partners at the Scholarship Foundation, Teresa Steinkamp, not Teresa. Teresa has been a wonderful partner here at Wyman. She's literally the greatest of all time. And so she's gonna get into it with you all to talk about a new scholarship opportunity and other scholarship opportunities that the Scholarship Foundation offers. And so I'm gonna pass it away to her. Teresa, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. I am going to try to share my screen here so that you can see the really basic PowerPoint I put together. So thank you all so much for having me tonight. My name is Teresa Steinkamp. I'm the advising director at the Scholarship Foundation. For those of you who maybe haven't encountered us yet or who are not familiar, the Scholarship Foundation and Wyman are long partners, and it's always a pleasure and a privilege to be with you all. I'm really excited to be here tonight to share some news about a scholarship opportunity that I think you will be excited to learn about. And so just to give you a little bit of additional information about the Scholarship Foundation, we are a nonprofit organization, and we are celebrating our 100th anniversary this year in 2020. We imagined a very different celebration this year for the history of the organization, but as I'm sure you all have also had things change this year, we have had things change as well. But the core things about our work have not changed, and that's that we are here to help students navigate the path to and through college, and a significant part of that means putting money into the hands of students to help them pay for college. And so for the last several years, we have been in a position to award a scholarship. And in recent years, that scholarship has been open to Wyman teens. And we are really thrilled tonight to be able to share with you an extension of that scholarship. And it's called the New Era Scholarship. And so if I can get my PowerPoint to advance. So this is a previous group of Wyman teens who were awarded the scholarship under its old name. And so as not to confuse you, I'm not going to give you the old name. The new name is the New Era Scholarship. And so that's what I want you to remember. And these are some of the students who've walked the path before you and are in college right now, working hard towards those degrees. And so the New Era Scholarship is a renewable scholarship of up to 10 semesters, and the scholarship is up to $12,000 per year. So just to pause and say that again, because I think it's a big deal. It is a renewable scholarship for up to $12,000 per year for up to 10 semesters, which is 5 years of undergrad. So there are a few important things for you to know as you consider applying for this scholarship. So you will see there's an asterisk here about that you need to attend an eligible institution. At the Scholarship Foundation, we're not big believers in directing a student on where they should attend, provided that it meets your goals and allows you to graduate hopefully with as little debt as possible. Affordability is a big thing at the Scholarship Foundation. So for the vast majority of our programs, students can go to any school in the country as long as it is accredited and not for profit. Now, the New Era Scholarship does ask that students stay in the state of Missouri or a handful of eligible institutions in Illinois. So to be clear, when you think about Missouri, that's any 2 or 4 year college in Missouri. Community colleges, 4-year publics like UMSL or Mizzou or SEMO or Missouri State, as well as 4-year privates like St. Louis University, Maryville, MOBAP. And then there's a list, and I will make sure that you have that list. I'm going to link an FAQ in the chat in just a few moments, and the list of eligible institutions is included in that FAQ. So if you're thinking that you want to go outside of Missouri, I'm not necessarily here tonight to try to change your mind, but I do think this is a great scholarship and one you should be applying for because you never know what may happen. You do have to apply in your senior year of high school. So seniors, this is it. Like this spring semester will be your one opportunity to apply for this scholarship. The application opens January 1st and is due April 15th. And you'll see here that it says you must participate in a partner program, which includes Wyman. So the other big thing about this scholarship is, so you might be thinking, okay, $12,000 or up to $12,000, how many awards are there? Like 3 or 4 or 5? The very cool truth is that there are spots for up to 150 students. The donor has committed to funding 150 students at this amount. And this spring, we will have at least 50 spots open in the program. So that's a tremendous opportunity, and the odds are pretty good if you meet the eligibility criteria and the math works that you could be in a position to receive the scholarship. And so the other partner programs aren't a secret. So students can also apply for the scholarship if they are in College Bound, if they are a high school senior at KIPP, in St. Louis internship program, or with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Eastern Missouri. So those are the 5 partner programs for the scholarship. And so I'm going to talk about a few other things, and then I'm going to talk about some overall criteria that's true for everything. So the Scholarship Foundation since 1920 has always offered students interest-free, fee-free loans. They are loans, they do need to be repaid, but unlike a federal student loan or a private bank loan, there's truly 0 interest on them for the life of the loan. Students who apply for the New Era Scholarship will be asked to apply for the loan. That does not mean that you have to accept the loan or that you will automatically be awarded one. So the goal, so what I shared with the group yesterday on the call was that part of the reason why the donor for this program is encouraging students to stay in Missouri through this scholarship is because the truth of the matter is that a lot of schools up to $12,000 will really allow you to graduate with very little, if any, debt. And so it's from an affordability standpoint, it's a big opportunity. If our math showed that you had need beyond that $12,000, we may also offer you an interest-free loan. Again, it does not obligate you to accept it. You could accept the scholarship and say, you know what, I'll find another way to cover that remaining $3,000 for the year. I don't want to take out the loan even though it's interest-free. And that would not negatively impact your ability to receive the scholarship. But if you're going to borrow, an interest-free loan may be better than an interest-bearing federal loan. And so our award amounts for the interest-free loan are up to $11,000 per year and $55,000 over the life of the loan. And really the only reason those numbers are as high as they are is because it's our intention to help students replace federal borrowing, not to supplement it. So we don't want to add to federal student loan debt. We would like to replace it. And so there are some overall eligibility criteria that you need to be aware of, and they really fall into these 4 categories. So the first is academics. You might be wondering, what kind of GPA do I need to have, or is there a test score requirement in order to be eligible? So we do use a GPA requirement, and it's a 2.0 cumulative GPA in order to be eligible to apply and to maintain eligibility for renewal moving forward. And there is no ACT or SAT test score that we look at or require in order to be eligible for the scholarship. So as long as you have a 2.0 cumulative GPA, you would be eligible to apply for all of our funding. We also look at character. So the character piece comes back to some of the initial programming that we did with this interest-free loan that we've been offering students for 100 years. And so this comes through in a couple different ways. So the first is a recommendation that you will be asked to submit or have someone submit on your behalf. Your Wyman coaches are great folks to be asking. They know you well. They have spent a lot of time with you over the last several years and are familiar with your character and your growth. So you might think about asking them, but give them lots of time to work on it, because I know many of them get lots of requests. I see some nodding heads. The second character piece that you need to be just mindful of is that we don't accept anything after the deadline. So April 15th is the deadline. And April 16th is usually one of the hardest days of the year for me, because I hear from the students who missed something or waited until the last minute and the system glitched out on them at 11:58. So know that you need to have everything submitted by April 15th, and it never hurts to get it in early. I would always be happy to verify for you that your application is complete, but the closer that it gets to April 15th, the harder that it is for me to do that. The third consideration that we look at, or the eligibility criteria, is financial need. So at our core, the Scholarship Foundation seeks to provide financial support for students who wish to go to college, who have the ability to be successful, but need the money to do so. And so financial need is a critical part of our evaluation and eligibility process. There are two ways that we evaluate that, and I think I confused the heck out of a lot of people on the call yesterday trying to explain that. So what I will say, but you all are seniors, and I think I confused some of the younger students, so maybe I will have better luck tonight. So if you have filed the FAFSA calculates something called the expected family contribution, or the EFC. And so if you have filed your FAFSA already and you don't know what your EFC is, you can log back into the FAFSA and find that on the student aid report, which is essentially the processed summary of your FAFSA. So we look for an expected family contribution, or an EFC, that is $15,000 or less. And so if you were to log back into your FAFSA and your EFC is higher than $15,000, and you do not have some kind of special circumstance that would warrant an adjustment of that, it is possible that you may not be eligible for the funding at the Scholarship Foundation. But I always invite you to have those conversations with one of your Wyman coaches or with the Scholarship Foundation, because especially in a year like we've had this year, there are many students and families who've had changes in their circumstances from 2019, and there are possible ways to have those things adjusted by either the college or by the Scholarship Foundation. So I would certainly invite a conversation. And then the second way that we evaluate need is that we want to be able to fill the last dollars that you need to cover your educational expense. And so, especially with a scholarship like $12,000, that's quite possible to do at most of the four-year publics in Missouri. So I'm going to use kind of an exaggerated example to give you a reason, the other way that we might evaluate need where a student might not be eligible. So if I say that I'm going to attend St. Louis University, and the cost of attendance at St. Louis University is probably closing in on $60,000 this year. And so we'll say, I work best in round numbers, so we'll ballpark it with $60,000. And we'll say that my EFC is 0. So that means I qualify for maximum financial aid, but SLU's only given me $30,000 in grant aid. And so I still have $30,000 that I need to cover. And what that means is the $12,000 in the New Era Scholarship plus the $11,000 in the interest-free loan would not be enough to be last dollar for a student in that hypothetical scenario. And so what we might say to a student in that circumstance would be, we would really love to fund you, but we're concerned about the potential for either too much debt or that you may not be able to cover the true cost of your education. We will reconsider your application if you can show that you have additional resources that we did not take into consideration, or if there's a school that has offered you a better financial aid package or is more affordable. And again, it's never our position to try to necessarily convince a student to change their plans. More, it is about helping a student try to avoid unmanageable debt that is burdensome when they graduate, okay? And then the final overall eligibility criteria is residency. So in order to be eligible for the scholarship, you do have to live in the St. Louis metro area, which I imagine probably is everyone on the call. So that would be St. Louis City, St. Louis County, as well as a number of counties around St. Louis in both Missouri and Illinois. So I can never give all the Illinois counties, but in Missouri, it would be Jefferson, Franklin, Lincoln, Warren, and St. Charles counties, in addition to St. Louis City and St. Louis County, okay? There are a few other scholarships that the Scholarship Foundation awards that I want you to be aware of, and there are lots more than the 3 additional ones that are listed here, but some of the other ones are similar to New Era in that there's a specific criteria or population that they are intended to target, and these ones are a little bit broader, or we see more students apply for them. So the first is Ava's Grace, and this scholarship is for students who have at any point in time, past or present, experienced a parent who's been incarcerated. The BJC Scholars Fund is a scholarship for students who are planning to attend a 4-year public college in Missouri or out of state that is offering in-state tuition. So that would be SIUE, SIUC for easy examples. And I'm gonna apologize to my friends on the line who are not in St. Louis City or St. Louis County or St. Charles County, because you are not eligible for the BJC Scholars Fund, unfortunately. That one, BJC has some additional geographical things that we have to take into consideration. And then the Deaconess Foundation Nursing Scholarship is for students who are pursuing a nursing degree. And all of these are available on Scholarship Central, and all of them will open on January 1st, and they are all due on April 15th. So I've talked a lot. And I wanted to keep it brief. Hopefully I kept it brief enough. My contact information is up here, and I wanted to go ahead and see if there were any questions that I could answer right off the bat. And I'm going to put a link to the FAQ for the scholarship in the chat so that you can check that out when you have a moment.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So like, I know like some scholarships are like stackable. Like, is this one stackable, or is that like up to like the school or like the other scholarship that you're trying to like stack it on?
So that's a great question. So we would essentially stack it on top of the other aid that you'd been offered. So when we do the math, we would look at any federal or state grant aid you'd already received, and any institutional grant or scholarship aid that you had received, which is part of why the scholarship is up to $12,000. So if you only needed 6, we might only award 6, right? We do not send the money to the school. So we actually disperse all of our funds directly to the student, because most colleges have a policy on something called aid displacement, which essentially means that at some point, the school is going to determine that your need has been met or a student's need has been met. And if that need is exceeded, they're going to take away something they've offered to you and give it to a student who has more need. And because we do our math so carefully to try to help students avoid borrowing federal debt, we don't want the college messing with it. And it's your money. So we want you to be able to put it towards the things that you need. Of course, we encourage you to pay tuition and fees first, because you want to have that bill to the institution satisfied. And then I think the other layer to your question would be that, so occasionally students do qualify for more than one scholarship from us. That doesn't happen very often, because just to be honest, there are lots of students with a lot of need, and we are trying to help as many students as we can. But it is possible to stack more than one scholarship from the Scholarship Foundation, and it does happen on occasion. That was a lot. Hopefully that answered your question. Okay. Other questions, or do any of the Wyman staff have any thoughts they want to share on the scholarship or recommendations?
You had a couple questions in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Romina asks, if you get the scholarship, will the university give the money to you directly or to the institution? So you answered that question. And then another student had a question, is there any way for you to lose the scholarship? That's a good question.
So it is a good question. So it is possible to lose the scholarship, but it is also possible to get it back. And so I think that's one of the things that I would highlight. So the primary reasons why students lose the scholarship is that they miss a renewal application deadline because the funding does have to be renewed each year, or they have a GPA, a cumulative GPA that falls below a 2.0. But we do give students opportunity to bring their grades back up. And honestly, so let's just say hypothetically a student has a difficult first semester of college, so their fall semester is difficult and their GPA is below a 2.0. I still always encourage them to renew that following spring, because oftentimes the spring GPA comes back up. And a lot of times what we will do is we will issue the following fall's funding and hold back the spring funds until we see fall grades. And so I guess that's a lot of detail, but in short, there is more than ample opportunity to earn the scholarship back if a student were to lose it due to academics.
Wonderful. We love grace. Amen. Another student asked, I think this is in reference to the loan. So would we pay back the loan? So when we pay back the loan, is there a set rate we pay monthly?
Yes, so that's a great question. And our board is doing some work on our loan repayment right now. But as it currently stands right now, loan repayment, so when a student who borrowed from us graduates, they get a 12-month grace period during which no payments would be required. And then after that, their monthly payment is basically the total amount that they've borrowed divided by 60. And that would be their monthly payment over. So it is currently over 5 years. I imagine that may change by the time students who are like seniors in high school right now graduate from college. That being said, even if it did not, we have a process to adjust payments based on income and other circumstances. So just like a federal loan, if a borrower had financial difficulty or health circumstances that made payment difficult, we would work with them to either reduce their payment or defer it if circumstances warranted that.
Good to know. That was a great question, Cameron.
Yeah.
And then Lotus asked, if you have an EFC higher than 15,000, does that disqualify you?
So, so on the surface, it could potentially, but again, there are circumstances that might warrant an adjustment of the EFC. So what I typically encourage students would be so you all, if you filed the FAFSA, you know that there's a lot that the FAFSA did not ask you about. And so if there are circumstances about your family's financial circumstances or about your family in general that you think it would be useful for the college to know, I would start that conversation first with the college, because although the Scholarship Foundation can adjust the EFC, we would only adjust it for our math. Whereas if the college adjusts it, they can actually go back into the FAFSA and make changes that would really result in a different EFC, which could potentially change eligibility for state aid and federal aid, and we would honor the new EFC. So it is always preferable for the school to be the one adjusting the EFC, but we will do it for our purposes too if for some reason the school won't, but we determine that an adjustment is needed. I would say that if there's a student on the call who thinks their EFC is above 15,000, that would be a conversation to have with either your Wyman coach, or I'd be happy to chat with you too and determine whether or not additional steps are necessary.
That's good to know. Those are all the questions so far in the chat. Do y'all have any more questions for Teresa? You can drop them in the chat. You can come off mute.
Teresa, I wonder if you could also chat about, I know students previously have transferred, and so you started one institution and interested in transferring. So just talking a little bit about that process too.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So students can transfer, and we see students transfer a lot, as Cricket said. A transfer does not necessarily make you ineligible. Of course, if you transferred to a school if you transferred from Mizzou to, I don't know, the University of New Mexico, you would forego the scholarship because the University of New Mexico would not be an eligible institution. And the math could change. So if I went from SLU to St. Louis Community College, I could receive $12,000 at SLU, but maybe only $1,000 at St. Louis Community College. I would still be eligible for the scholarship, but the award amount may change. And so a transfer could change overall eligibility or the amount that a student receives because the numbers in the math calculation to get to the award would change.
That is good to know. Y'all have any more questions for Teresa about this scholarship? Any other things, anything financial aid related? Any more questions for Teresa?
And I have my contact information up here, so you are welcome to call me or text me or email me. If you'd like an appointment to work on some aspect of the application or discuss the scholarship more in depth, I'm happy to do that. I know your Wyman coaches are also happy to help, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Teresa, once again for the information
You are welcome.
that we need.
I feel like there was a question. Was there a question from you? You keep looking like, and you,
Okay, like I
she
think
kept coming on mute a little bit. I'm like, she got a question over there.
You're on mute.
the scholarship.
Oh, you're on mute.
Yep, you're on mute.
Oh.
Hey, it's all good.
So just for confirmation, you can reapply for this scholarship like every year, right? Like
Correct, yes. So you have to apply and be awarded for the first time as a graduating high school senior. But once you've received it, it is renewable. The Scholarship Foundation doesn't believe in anything that's not renewable because you have more than 1 year of college, right? So we need to figure out how to pay for every year, not just the first year.
We love it. Any other lingering questions? Anyone? We're here.
So the reapplication, how students renew each year, we would send that information to you in the middle of the academic year. So like, for example, we're getting ready to send that information out, but applications open every year, new and renewal January 1st. Applications are due, new and renewal every year on April 15th. And the good news is the renewal application is much shorter than the original one, so.
Good stuff. It's kind of like the FAFSA. How you have to do the FAFSA every year. Just do that one too if you get it. Okay,
Yeah.
just add that to your list. Get it done.
Yeah, and y'all will get sick of us anyway. The persistence team, so Tootsie and persistence team will be on you when it opens every single year and when it closes. So you'll get lots of updates, reminders. Will be on your neck about getting it completed. So if you don't remember, we'll remind you, and Scholarship Foundation will remind you. So
We love it.
So there's a question about, can you get started on the essays now? So yes, you could. You can't enter them into the system just yet, but give me 1 second and I will. So the way that this will work is so the application is on Scholarship Central, and you will complete a very short opportunity for the New Era Scholarship. And then you will be asked to do the interest-free loan application. And again, the interest-free loan application, you may be able to reject a loan or you may not be awarded a loan if the math doesn't show that you need that. But we use the loan application as the primary like evaluation piece, like point of evaluation. So let me just find, I'm gonna find the link, and then you can at least look at the questions, including the essay questions. So, and I don't blame you on wanting the money, so not at all.
Very understandable.
So those are all the questions, and the essay questions have not changed in several years. So this information still reflects as if you were applying for this current school year, but it will all change on January 1st, and you will be able to actually fill out the questions starting on January 1st.
and they could also start gathering the documents needed also too, right? Like
Correct, yes.
or transcripts. So those are things
Yep.
that you guys could start collecting too.
Yeah, just wait to get the high school transcript until after this semester, because you'll need those grades on the transcript in order to apply.
Good to know. So hopefully y'all have a good little to-do list and things to get.
Yeah.
And if not, we'll be on your line to remind you to get it. But we do want to thank Teresa one more time for
My
the
pleasure.
information.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. And so we're going to keep you all just a few minutes longer. I'm going to pass it on to our high school coaches, Snaps and Royal, and they're going to talk to you all about a couple of things to get your lives in order really quick before we go. And then we will hop off. So I'm going to pass it on to our high school coaches.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Even though I can't see everybody, it's nice to see y'all are on the call, okay? So hopefully you got a pen and paper with you. If you don't, I hope you have your phone or something that you can write something down with, okay? Because we're gonna give you a quick winter break to-do list to add to everything that was already said here tonight with all this great, wonderful information we just received, okay? All right, so the first thing is keep your edges moisturized, okay? That's from Coach Edges, all right? That's from Coach Edges. She said keep them moisturized, meaning don't stress. Listen, it's the break. We don't want you to stress, and that's why we're going over this list. And if you were on the call yesterday, we went through how to make a schedule. So if you weren't able to get on that, make sure you get in touch with one of your coaches and just go through that with them, okay? So keep your edges. Number 2, catch up on backed up assignments. So if you have a load of work you need to have done and it's stressing you out, that's why we're here. That's why we want you to make a list, get a schedule together, and get prepared, and then figure out if you need to do work during the break and how that looks, okay? Next, complete your FAFSA if you have not completed it already. And hold on one moment, I got a couple links here. Okay, so this is the link to make a FSA ID if you have not started your FAFSA application. And then the next link I'm putting in here will take you directly to where you need to complete your FAFSA. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So if you need help with that, we're here. I'm gonna keep saying that we are here. We are here for you. Please don't hesitate to text or call us. We are here. We love you guys. Okay. So the next thing is to complete scholarship applications. As Teresa just said, on Scholarship Central, if you're applying for the MSU and CMO scholarship or have not started but want to, make sure you get that done. The deadline is December 11th, okay? If you're needing help, let us know. Reach out to us, okay? And she already put the link for that, but I'll just go ahead and do it one more time for you guys so you have it, okay? All right, that was wonderful. Come on, y'all, let's get our lives together. All right, now it's on to Coach Snaps. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Okay, so we're just going to continue the list, but with a different person. Okay, different person, different face, same list. I am going to say that something that is super important, especially to get done during winter break, or before winter break, is to get any recommendation letter information that you may need. So of course you want to reach out to those counselors, mentors, teachers, people that you know can write a great recommendation letter for you for your scholarships or different applications. And you definitely want to get that done before winter break, because teachers and counselors may not want to write your recommendation letter a couple of days before Christmas. They may want to get that stuff done before then, or they may not give it to you until you come back from school. So just make sure that you're asking for that information in a timely manner. So when you do your recommendation letter, of course, you want to send out an email to them and saying, this is what I'm applying for and why. You can't just say, hey, can you write me a recommendation letter, and they don't know what they're writing it for, right? So you need the information on what you're applying for, and also maybe send that person your resume. So when they're writing your recommendation letter, they have a clear idea of what it is that you've done, and they can speak to all of your experiences really easily because you've sent them your resume, right? And so make sure if you don't have a resume, maybe you can type up something really quick that involves all of your past volunteer involvement, experience, maybe your sports or different things like that, so that, again, these people who are writing your recommendation letter can get it done for you really quickly and have information to go off on. So like Royal said, we want to make sure that we're completing applications. It is December, you guys. So if there are any schools that are lingering in the back of your head or places that you're thinking that you want to apply to, please do so now. Start on those applications, look up those scholarships to see if you can get more money in those institutions. So now's the time to apply for those schools. If you need waivers, please reach out to us, application fee waivers. And if you need help, maybe going through the application, you can reach out to us. So double check those deadlines and make sure you have those complete so that you can be considered for admission to that institution. Last but not least, I know that this sounds really lengthy. We don't mean to make you feel really heavy with tons of information. And it probably sounds crazy to say this after we just told you to do all this stuff, but find time to take a break, right? So if you are one of those people who have tons of things to do on their list, and you just feel like all of the things are floating around in your brain at once, just find time to be mindful of how you feel and say, you know what? I got these 15 things to do, but today I'm gonna just do one thing. I'm gonna take a break and maybe I'll tackle something else later tonight, or maybe I'll do it tomorrow, right? So it doesn't matter if we have millions of things to do. If we're not in the right mindset to get them done, we'll just sit around and not do anything because we're so stressed out about all the things we have to do. So make sure that you take a break. If you want to reach out to your coach and make a plan on how to get these things done, like Royal said, we went over some list ideas yesterday on how to properly make like a good list to get your stuff done. So we just want to make sure that you're taking time for yourself. We know that this semester has been a lot, very unusual. We're in a virtual setting. It's a pandemic. So make sure that you take time to enjoy time with your family and friends, okay? So I'm going to share my screen with you guys because of course the holidays are approaching, which means some of us are not going to be here, right? Some of the coaches are going to want to go, okay? They're like, vacation, winter time, no more, all right? So we created a list that will show you who's available. So if you can see it, I guess put a thumbs up or let me know. Maybe you guys can write this down or take a quick screenshot of what we have. So this is our availability. On Monday, December 14th, there's only going to be me, Royal, Taylor, people from middle school, and Brian. And so the list goes all the way down, all the way into December 30th, telling you all the people who are going to be available. And make sure that you have this in mind, because if you want to reach out to one of your coaches and they're not available, you can always reach out to somebody else. We're all here to make sure that you're successful, and we all want to help you. So it doesn't matter if your coach is not available, there's always going to be someone that you can reach out to if you do need help. So make sure that you guys are taking this list. And if you do have a picture or have written it down, just give me a thumbs up so I can know when to stop sharing the screen.
Romina asked a great question if we're going to share this list. Absolutely, we're going to email it. And then for the staff availability, we're going to post it on Instagram, and we'll also email that out too. So if you know your coach doesn't answer you, they're not ghosting you. They're just living their best life elsewhere, not looking at their phone. So we will share this information with y'all.
Also, and all the contact information is in the newsletter. So I hope you guys are reading the newsletters.
There it is. And also, if you need any of the links in the chat, please click them, because once we close the Zoom call, you won't be able to get to them. So before we go, look in the chat to see if you need any of those links, or click them all. You know, you can't die from clicking a link, because they will go away when we end the call. Okay, everybody got a screenshot? Y'all got this to know who's here and who won't be here?
Am I good to go, you guys? Can I stop sharing now?
I think so.
No? Okay, again, you will see this on Instagram and we will email it to you if you didn't get a chance to get it right now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Snaps. So with everything we've discussed, is there any lingering questions? I see Patrick asked a question about a recommendation letter for college. You need to get another for the scholarship. That can go either way. So if it's a recommendation for college, whoever wrote it's gonna need to switch a couple of things up to make it make sense for the scholarship. So technically, but the person's gonna need to just sprinkle a little bit more information in there to make it make sense for the scholarship. So almost, Patrick, almost. If that makes sense. Any other questions y'all have? You're welcome. About scholarships, money, college life, keeping your edges moisturized. It's a thing. Any other questions, y'all?
I would just mention, Patrick, too, if you actually have a letter for the scholarship, they'll have to complete a link. So like you just can't swap out the letter because they'll have to fill out a link instead of providing a letter to just the FYI. So they could just copy and paste that same letter and change it a little bit, and so they don't have to rewrite the whole thing, but you won't submit an actual letter.
Very true.
So that is important to know if you are doing scholarships that have a deadline of like midnight. Once you open that scholarship application and you see that you need a recommendation letter, it is going to be hard to submit the application because it will then be incomplete because you wouldn't have your recommendation letter. So please make sure that you are looking for scholarship requirements before the deadline, so that you do have, that person has enough time to get on that link and write that recommendation letter, etc. Okay, you guys?
Yeah, and you want to give your recommenders 2 weeks minimum to write the situation, because we'll be busy. It's a lot going on. So 2 weeks minimum. So give them a month for real, but 2 weeks minimum to get that recommendation done. Okay, youth? Any other questions, y'all? These are good questions. Lotus is working, or she's in a bookstore or something. Library.
I work at a library.
We love it. Work, girl. Make that money. Don't let it make you. Okay.
So I like have like a Scholarship Central like account, and it asks like when you were doing the application for it or whatever, when you were like making your account for it, that you get like a recommendation letter from a teacher already. So like they send that in, or like you request like a recommendation letter or something. And so my art teacher did one for me. Like, is that like that recommendation letter, like does that just like go out to like scholarships and like colleges and stuff like that? Like I don't know how that works at all.
I'm gonna let you take that, Craig.
I don't think so. And especially if she did it a long time ago, and depending on what she speaks about, the Scholarship Foundation's recommendation letter will ask specifically about your character and things like that. So I don't know what your art teacher wrote about. And so if she did write something similar to that, I would resend her the link and ask her to copy and paste what she has for you maybe previously, and just update and tweak and make sure that she talks about your character in there, because you want her to answer the question that they're asking. So she may just did some generic thing. You want to make sure that she's answering the question.
And I did want to speak to the Scholarship Central profile, because I know a lot of different profiles make you upload like your resume and different things so that your profile can be complete. So it probably would be like a generic recommendation letter on there. And depending on the scholarship may pull from what is on Scholarship Central, or it may request something new. So it just depends on what the scholarship says, but more than likely it'll identify how they're going to get the recommendation letter and what they're going to use. So
Wonderful information. Any other questions, folks? We're here to answer your things. Answer your questions. Any other questions y'all have? Okay, bye Tootsie. Stay warm, girl. Any other questions, good people? Okay, well, it has been wonderful to see your faces and your black boxes and names tonight. We hope that y'all got a lot of good information. And once again, if you have any other questions, your coaches are here to answer them for you. We will send out that to-do list as well as the staff availability so that y'all know who is on and who's off. Other than that, y'all stay warm, put some socks on, and we will talk to y'all next time, okay? Have a good night, y'all.